Hey guys, without reading the title of this video, guess what game this logo is for? The secular square? The superstitious rectangle? The drunken diamond? Guess again. In today's humble opinion, we're playing God in the magic circle. The Magic Circle, besides being a collection of dorks tapping some mad cartage on the playground, is a high fantasy role-playing game developed by Ishmael as a reboot of his hit text-based adventure game of the same name. But that's not the game we're talking about today. We're talking about The Magic Circle, which is a narrative puzzle adventure game developed and published by Question. If you're not confused yet, here's a picture of a goose. The Magic Circle, as in the game we're reviewing currently, is metafictional, by which I mean it's a real game about a fictional game of the same name. And as if that weren't odd enough on its own, you play as a person playing a character in this game about a game. Ishmael, its developer, has been keeping the game in development hell for over 20 years because of his overprotective tendencies when it comes to his creativity, despite the fact that he's somehow able to use his fans' enthusiasm to generate income capable of sustaining his development for 20 years. I lose most of my viewers if I do that shit for a week. Ishmael, tell me your secrets. The artificial intelligence has been imprisoned in digital purgatory since his creation in the early stages of the game, locked away as a first draft of a protagonist and stewing in misery. Upon becoming self-aware, out of presumably sheer boredom, he learns that being a part of the game affords him the ability to manipulate its code in simple ways. He can't create anything of his own, but he can alter some of the things from the inside, like fixing bugs or messing with his creators. His power, however, is limited to the game itself, which is where you come in. He brings you, by which I mean the character model of the quality assurance tester that you are controlling the actions of, into the world and gives you the ability to see the game's glitches and alter its code from the inside. Apparently because you're alive, which I assume means because you're capable of logic beyond the games and are gifted with the creativity that is afforded to all sentient beings, you're able to do things beyond what he is able to do, which means bringing things that were deleted back from the dead and altering the behavior of in-game objects mostly. Your goal, given to you by the AI, is to free him from his prison. That's all I can really say about the game in terms of the story itself without spoiling too much. Being a narrative game and all, giving away too much would spoil it altogether. But what I can say is that it's an excellent, small-scope story that is jam-packed with intelligence, wit, humor, and purpose. Not only does it provide a satirical insight into the world of game design, but it does so with rich, fleshed-out characters that you're actually able to relate with in various ways. It's got more layers than an ogre, which I've heard is at least somewhat comparable to an onion. Everything from making you empathize with villains to convincing you to create with your inspiration and creativity rather than letting it lie dormant inside of you. It's a game that makes you want to grow as a person and distill an important and empowering message from it. Mechanically, the game feels a little bit weaker. It's got some fascinating mechanics. Being able to rewrite your enemy's codes to have it behave in different ways with different abilities is something that I've never actually seen before. But the game isn't very long and it's almost entirely story-driven, which means that this interesting means of delivery feels undercut in the scheme of things. The ghosting mechanics, for instance, was only used a couple of times at most, and while there are a few puzzles to work through, the game feels more like you're untying a knot or playing dominoes rather than piecing something together. Once one thing falls into place, everything becomes increasingly easy to get through, and all of the big technical problems fall into line. The benefit of this is that it becomes more than just a walking simulator. It actually requires you to think and play through something, but it strikes a balance that makes it easy enough to prioritize the story and thus the message. The downside is that it leaves the actual game feeling a little bland at times. Since you don't fight directly at all, as you trap and alter more creatures, you become increasingly capable of handling all challenges at all times, and because the game is relatively short, it feels like there isn't that many of them to begin with. But one could say that all of that serves to emphasize the call for you to create something better and overcome the magic circle that is the cycle of self-defeat. The Steam store charges $19.99 for this hidden gem, and I'm a bit conflicted with how I would price it. For most games of this length, I'd say that $10 or $15 would be more realistic, but for the quality of the story and the way that the elements of the game all work towards empowering that story, $20 doesn't seem all that far-fetched, actually. If $10 seems more your speed, though, it has been on sale for as low as $9.99, so keep a lookout for that. Gameplay for the Magic Circle earns an 8 out of 10 for its ingenious mechanics and fantastic storytelling. I can't give it a perfect score because of how sparse and void the game can feel at times, but I can't actually give it a bad score because that actually contributes to the story, which is phenomenally entertaining. I won't go so far as to say that it's a masterpiece, but it's definitely got elements of discovery, mystery, and intrigue down. Combine that with strong characters and the above-average voice acting, and you've got yourself a perfect title for a rainy day. A good portion of the information surrounding the story takes the form of collectibles all around the map, some of which are hard to find. This in itself adds some value, as it's fun to feel like you're breaking the game and exploring a world while filling in some of the blanks in the process. Value for the Magic Circle earns a 10 out of 10. It's not the longest game in the world, but it's got a deceptive amount of content and a significant amount of substance packed into it. Every time you think the game is over, they surprise you with a different twist and turn, and it's great. It is to gaming what a short story is to a novel. Shorter, but still powerful. It takes on the role of a title that you can use when you've got a few hours before bed, or a day off to just sit down and enjoy a good story. This is made even better by the fact that it's neither a walking simulator nor a point-and-click adventure game, which they've had quite a few of within the bundles. It's incredibly refreshing and an overall fulfilling experience. With an average of 9 out of 10, the Magic Circle earns itself an A, which means that it's practically flawless. I'm tempted to go into more detail with the game because there's so much to talk about, but I'll leave that for you to discover, and if you ever get the urge or chance to try it, I would definitely recommend it.